in this series, as we've been talking about, we've talked about love. If somebody says some word a lot of times, it would mean it's important, correct? The words "do not fear" in the Bible is mentioned 365 times. Coincidence? I don't believe so. The word love is mentioned 551 times. I believe God is wanting us to understand that love is so important for us. Love is something that helps us to be a better person. It helps us to be a better Christian. In your outline, you'll see that we have the acrostic for the word love. This is an acrostic that I want us to understand that teaches us what love is all about. Being a Christian is one thing, but it's something else when you show the love of God to other people. So the first thing in your outline, if you would, is the letter L, and that is to live it out. Live it out. Galatians 2:20, which we actually talked about this past Wednesday as we were going through the book of Galatians. Now we're in chapter 3, but Galatians chapter 2 verse 20, it says, "My old self has been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. So I live in this earthly body by trusting the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me." You know, as we were talking about what that meant in the scripture, that we have died to our old self. When you receive Christ, you are a new creature. You are no longer a person that is wrapped up in the sin of the world, because you have asked Jesus to come live in your life. And it's one thing to ask him to live in your life, but it's another thing to show other people the life that Jesus is in you. As we have gone through trials in our life, as we've gone through triumphs in our life, we have to understand that we need to make sure that we live out our faith. As we look at the tragedies that's happened all across this world, as we see things that are going on in our own country and even foreign countries, we have to understand that there are people out there that are wanting to live out their faith. I have noted many different types of things that have happened. In fact, I saw a story of a guy, and there are good people and there's bad people really in any profession. Even preachers. There's good preachers and bad preachers. There's good carpenters. There's bad carpenters. There's good real estate agents. There's bad real estate agents. And there's good lawyers. Maybe. And there's some bad ones. But there's a lot of good and a lot of bad. Now, for some reason in our world, we have been mandated by the world saying that all police are bad. We've heard that. We've seen that. And we have two that are here. We have one that's joining, actually two that are going to be joining the police department after they go through all their training. And we know their life, we know what they represent, and we know that all people are not bad. We know that all people, as far as police, are not bad. Now, there's a story that I want to share with you. There was a policeman who arrested a guy and later on confessed that it was a false arrest. He was really trying to make a quota so he could move up. Now, I want you to understand that's wrong. The guy was arrested. He was put in jail for 4 years. He got out of jail, and he said to himself, when I find this cop, me and him are going to have a come to Jesus meeting. 4 years incarcerated. Lo and behold, they started in the same town. Neither one of them moved. And the police officer actually got fired from his job because they found out other things that he had done that was wrong. And they both ended up at the same place employee at a restaurant. The former cop walked up to the gentleman and he started talking. He said, I don't know what else to say except I'm sorry. I should have never done what I've done. And if there's anything that you want done to me, if you want to kill me or whatever you want to do, you just go ahead. I am so sorry. I can't get back the 4 years you lost. I can't do anything for your family. I am wrong. The other gentleman looked at him and he said, I forgive you. As much as I wanted to do something, the words that you just said was something that I felt I just needed to hear. And actually now they are best friends, believe it or not. They have gone to places, they have done things together, they're very good people, and one of the great things is they go to church together. I didn't tell you this because really it didn't matter, but one's a black and one's a white. But the truth is that both of them found Christ and they're both working together and living out their faith. Now this is true forgiveness, right? Now that's what we as Christians should do. We have had people who have done bad things to us. I'm not going to ask you to tell things that have been done to you. That's bad. I don't want you to call out names. I don't want you to point or anything like that. But I do want you to understand that there are people who have done bad things to you. But God has told us that we are to forgive those people. And that is how we live out love for other people. We need to understand, even those that are young, we need to look, as Paul was talking to Timothy, and it's in 1 Timothy 4:12, it says, don't let anyone look down on you because you're young, but set an example for the believer in speech, in life, in love, in faith, and in purity. This is to live out everything that you say and do and where you go. This is how we, as a group of people that call ourselves Christians, can live out our love for this world. The second thing is that we need to observe every opportunity. Observe every opportunity. Galatians 6:9 and 10, it says, so let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up. Therefore, whenever we have the opportunity, we should do good to everyone, especially to those in the family faith. So don't let yourself get tired of doing good. I'm sure that people who have done good in this world that we're living in today are tired and they're not getting any goodness out of it, because people, even though you're doing something good, they don't like you. They don't like the things you do. They don't even like the color of your skin. This is the world that we're living in, and I want us to understand that we have a great opportunity to show Christ more than we did even in 2019. You may say, well, 2020 is the craziest year. How many of you woke up on January the 1st, 2020, and said, this is going to be the greatest year ever? Anybody? And then on January the 10th, you're realizing, it ain't going to be that great. And then, like 2 weeks ago, you're like, oh, wow, can this be over? Anybody ever wish for next year to come even more, right? We're all in that right now. But here's the opportunity that we have, is to show people who Christ is. When somebody says something negative, talk about Christ to them. Live out the opportunities. Ephesians 5:15 and 16 says, be very careful then how you live. Not as unwise, but as wise, making the most of every opportunity, because the days are evil. Understand, the devil is at work. The devil wants you to quit. The devil wants you to think that because you do good, it doesn't matter. The devil wants you to believe that do is to grab hold of the worldly things and believe those things, and don't worry about believing the Bible. The devil even wants you to believe that the days are not numbered, that we have forever to live. We don't need to act like Christians today, because tomorrow will be a better day to act like a Christian. But I want you to understand, in those opportunities that the devil is trying to get in your ear, that you need to tell the devil that he's a liar. The devil is not true. The devil will always try to deceive your life. He will put different things in your path. And we as Christians need to observe every opportunity, even the opportunities to tell Satan, no, not today. I'm not dealing with you today. We were walking around somewhere, and I don't know where it was at, but I think it might have been at Wally World or whatever. You know, everybody goes there. But we were walking around, and this woman had a shirt on, and it said, "Satan, not today." And I was like, that's awesome. So I walked up to her, and I was like, not today. She's like, not today. But isn't that what we should say? Not today. It ain't going to happen. I know when Jill's dad, we called the family in. Everybody was there. We're all sitting there, and he's lying in his bed, and we're all just sitting there, and Jill's sister is telling him, you know, it's okay. You know, we're going to be okay. You just go. You can be with Mom, and you'll be fine. It's going to be okay. He hadn't eaten. Every sign was that it wasn't going to be long. And then he said this as he woke up. Not today. That's what he said. He went in the cafeteria. He ate. He lived for another couple of weeks. Not today. That's why we just kept joking with him. Not today. I ain't done today. And as we watched him as he took his last breath, and we remember that, he could even say to Satan, not today. I'm up there now. You can't touch me. Because I am where I am supposed to be because of my faith. And I observed the opportunity to have Christ come into my life. And I've been able to share that opportunity with other people. You know, as I say this, and I've said this many times, that Christians need to observe their opportunities and don't look like you've been baptized in pickle juice. You know, you just have that sour look. You're just mad. You know, get excited about being a Christian. Don't be all, oh, I'm so excited. Get excited about it, because we are on the winning team. We are the ones that have victory, because we have Jesus. So we need to observe every opportunity. So live it out, observe every opportunity. And thirdly, volunteer yourself. Volunteer yourself. 1 Corinthians 9:17 and 18 says, if I were doing this on my own initiative, I would deserve payment. But I have no choice, for God has given me this sacred trust. What then is my pay? It is the opportunity to preach the good news without charging anyone. That's why I never demand my rights when I preach the good news. We all need to volunteer ourselves to preach the Word of God. Now, does that mean that every single person needs to be behind the pulpit preaching the gospel? No. I can tell you this, that some people where you work is the place that God has put you so you could reach a completely different group of people. You know, as being a pastor of a church, you know, one thing is we tell you to bring all your friends, bring everybody you know, and some of you don't have friends, that's why you join the church. But anyway, we have all of these things. We tell you, come on, let's get this going. It's going to be fun. And in my line of work, I can hang around Christian people here at the church. I can go hang around pastors of other churches, and the opportunities that I have, people don't want to hang around the preacher. For some reason, they think, you know, I'm going to do something to them. I don't know. Then they hear me talk and they're like, oh, you ain't preaching. You do crazy. But the opportunity that I have is to share, and I have to volunteer myself to do things for people to help them in the environment they're in. What I love hearing is stories of people who have co-workers that are working and something happened in their life and they come to you and ask for prayer and they want to know about this Jesus that you keep talking about. That's the way that you can volunteer yourself at work. And also, there are many positions within the church that you can work with. From the children all the way up to adults. We have a lot of opportunities. We have a lot of things that are going on. We have things that you can get plugged in and do the work of God. Whether it's cooking for bereavement, whether it's sending cards, whether it's doing carpentry work, or whatever other work that involves. I'm not sure. I know that you did the jackhammer yesterday. She's so excited about that. Even though she was walking in like this still. But there's opportunities for us to do things outside of the walls of the church. We have to do more. We have to volunteer ourselves to do more because God gave us all gifts to use for His glory. And we, as a group of people, want to make sure that we volunteer ourselves. It is a strong man who can love and suffer hurt. It is a weak man who thinks only of himself and hurts others to protect himself. He hurts others, then runs away to protect himself. Some people think if they give money, that's the only thing that is needed. But I want you to understand that God wants your whole body to do things. And He can use you like never before. It takes those that volunteer their time to help others that can make a lasting difference. This past Thursday, we had the opportunity to go to Gaston Street Ministries, and I know they're not really doing services now. And so we just got the food and we brought it to them. I took it over there so nobody had to go. And I dropped it off on Thursday, and I was standing there and I was talking to some of the people that are there. And as I was grabbing the thing, the boxes of food to give it to them, they were just so thankful and appreciative that somebody that doesn't even know who they are took the time out to get them something so they could have something to eat. And as I was looking at that, I was like, man, this is a great opportunity that we have to share Christ. I told the guys what church I was with, and I was like, and I knew him from being there several times, but I just looked at him and I was just like, man, I want you to know this, that we may give you this as a physical need, but the spiritual need is that we pray for you. That is some way that we can volunteer ourselves, is to even pray for other people. We can do that. We can make our lives so much better and live a life fulfilling to God's call on our life if we volunteer ourselves and do things for Him. I know that in years past we have had Vacation Bible School. And I remember when I was a youth pastor years and years ago, we had our Vacation Bible School, and I was wanting to go to the top. I just wanted to make it just crazy. We got bus routes, we did all the stuff. We had all these kids, and I had all these parents, and we were working, we were doing all this stuff. And I remember taking a picture. I wish I could find the picture. But I took a picture. It was at Love Memorial Baptist Church, and all the volunteers were laying in the floor because we were exhausted. How many of you know kids make their exhaustion? and I'm telling you, it was exhausting. And I knew not to ask those groups of people to help me for the next couple of weeks, to give them some time to rest. But as they came up to me later on, they said, as tired as I was, because I got off work, I went straight to the church, did what I needed to do, got home probably at 9:30 or so, and then I tried to get myself calmed down from dealing with these kids. And then I went to work the next day, and it happened and happened and happened. It was a full week of Vacation Bible School, and it was just an exhausting time. But the most of the people that worked there were so excited that they were able to volunteer their time. Not everybody was a teacher. Not everybody did this. Some people did crafts. Some people did recreation. Some people did the teaching. Some people did this or that. Some people cooked, and they did that for the volunteers and things like that. It was a great opportunity for us to volunteer our time. And the wonderful news was when we had our time of the night that we shared Jesus with everybody and did evangelism night. My first Vacation Bible School, and I remember it well, we had 4 kids come to Christ. All of that planning, all of that other stuff, none of that really mattered. All that mattered was those 4 young children who came to know Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. And the one thing that made me so proud was one of the kids that got saved was one of the teenagers that was in our youth group won them to Christ themselves. Now they're a pastor of a church in North Carolina. What a wonderful opportunity that we had to volunteer ourselves to show people that we love them. And the final point is that we need to encourage others. Hebrews 10, 24 and 25 says, let us think of ways to motivate one another. Some translations say encourage one another to acts of love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together as some people do. But encourage one another, especially now that the day of his return is drawing near. Over 1,000 years ago, this was written. And I believe that it can be written right now, today, put in the front page of the paper. Probably won't be put in the front page of the paper. But the front page of the paper could say this, that the day of the return of Christ is drawing near. I know that God wants us to encourage one another, especially Christians. We have been put into a vice, it seems like. Being a Christian, you know, people will be like, oh, they're a Christian, oh, they're good people, they're nice, they're good, whatever. Now, it's totally different. The world is changing. And the more I see things happening in the world, it's just getting ready for the rapture to happen and Satan to take control. And I'm telling you, you do not want to be there when that happens. You want to make sure that you make the right decision, and you want to encourage somebody that is trying to do their best and let them know how happy you are that they're doing things. Now, every once in a while, I'll send out some text messages of people who haven't been able to be here. I know some people work on Sundays and things like that, and I pick with people and I'll send them messages and I talk to them, and I've even said, you know, we took your name off the roll, we're going to send you down to another church, you know, this kind of stuff, and it's just joking around and stuff like that, but you know, at first they were like, oh gosh, you know, the preacher's telling me, you know, they're going to send me off, you know, and then they realize that I'm just kidding, but I just try to encourage them, and I was like, hey, I just want to let you know that I was thinking about you. I want you to know that I've been praying for you. For some reason, I had you on my mind, and more than one time since I've been at this church that God has put somebody on my mind in my thoughts, and I don't know why, but I started praying for that individual, and I sent them a message, and I said, I don't know what's going on, but I want you to know that I've been praying for you. And it wouldn't be long after that I get a message, or they would tell somebody else that it was the weirdest moment, the timing was perfect, that they were about to do something they shouldn't do, say something to somebody. And because of that, they were like, yes, I just need to be a Christian about this whole thing. Because there are people who want to mess with you. There's people who want to take advantage of you. There's people who want to hate you. But the one thing that you can always do is that you can encourage others and you can encourage yourself. Because guess what? It's not over. We have victory in Jesus. We have this. Here's the encouragement today. Jesus stooped down to grab us from our sin and gave us grace so that we could live eternal. That's what love is all about. Live it out. Observe every opportunity. Volunteer yourself. Encourage one another. That is where we are today. I know that our services have been a lot shorter, and I've not heard any complaints. Just saying. Nobody's ever said, "Oh man, he's too short." Well, I heard that before, but that's another story. As soon as I said that, I knew I was going to get something back. But I want you to understand, as we have changed things that we're doing inside the church, we changed the method that we're using the gym instead of the sanctuary. And I know some people back in the day would be like, no, we're not, you can't meet in the gym. You got to meet in the sanctuary. Well, we're kind of in a different world right now. We have to do what we have to do. But we've never changed the message. And I want us to understand, as God has been really dealing with me about love, because all you see on the news and all you see in the newspapers and all you hear is a bunch of people quoting different things. It's all about hate. You see, the devil wants you to hate somebody. The devil wants you to be discouraged. The devil doesn't want you to live it out. The devil does not want you to use your opportunities for good. So guess what? That is the opposite of love. We have to love one another. We have to be there for one another. We have to help people who are going through rough times, even if they're going through something that we know nothing about, and we don't need to judge them because of the things they're going through. We need to have that spirit of love. The spirit of love is what gets us to better people. I know that, honestly, working with young people, I used to think, what's the difference between young people and an older congregation as being a pastor, being a youth director and being a pastor of a church? What do you do? What's the difference? Nothing, really. You're all just grown-up adults. Young people, really. Some of y'all are crazy. Some of y'all have jokes. Some of y'all laugh. Some of y'all talk like young people. And we have fun. And here's the one thing that I want you to understand. If you're going to love Christ, then you have to be happy about being a Christian. I know some people are like, man, I can't believe you just tell jokes all the time. I don't know. You got to be serious behind that sacred desk. Well, guess what? I'm talking about my daddy, my Abba Father, the one that gave me life. I'm excited. If I'm going to be excited, I'm going to show people how excited I am. That is just something to stand behind. But I don't want to stand behind anything because I want Christ to be there so that people can see who He is. And the one thing that Jesus said, that I came to love the sinner. And it is the sinner who I want to get saved. And I want to take them to a place that I create. A place full of love. Where there'll be no more sorrow, there'll be no more fear, there'll be no more riots, there'll be nothing but love. What a wonderful place that will be in heaven is to have the love of Jesus everywhere. And I was thinking about this in closing. I used to get the newspaper. I don't get the newspaper anymore. I used to watch the news often. Now I don't watch it as often. I used to listen to different people that were political, and I stopped listening to some of those. And I want you to understand, the more I stopped doing those things, the better I felt about life. And I began to think, what about when we go to heaven? The news, the newspapers. Now I began to think how weird it would be, but every morning you go out and you get your cup of coffee and your 15 donuts that you get to eat for breakfast to not gain weight, and you go and you're sitting there and here's the paper. And you pick it up and it just reads, I'm still alive. and we're in perfect health. Everybody around us, there's no doctors. I'm not saying there won't be any doctors that go to heaven, but I'm saying there won't be any need for a doctor. There won't be any need for a preacher. There won't be any need for an accountant. There won't be any need for a carpenter. There won't be any need for any of the worldly things that we have right now as far as jobs. And the greatest joy that we're going to have is that we're going to be filled with love. The whole heaven is going to be about love. The brothers and sisters that we see here today, we will recognize you for a moment there in heaven, but guess what? After a while, it's just going to be everybody's equal. We're all going to be worshiping Jesus Christ. What a joy it's going to be able to see face to face with my Savior. I trust that that is your life today. As we get ready to sing our hymn of invitation, turn your eyes upon Jesus. In the chorus it says this: turn your eyes upon Jesus. Look full in his wonderful face. And the things of earth will grow strangely dim in the light of his glory and grace. If you would, let's stand as we sing our hymn of invitation.